folks, this is Zungryware, and I'm showing off my data pack called ItemBuilder. It is a data pack that allows map makers to create custom items using a system of effects and conditions. This is just a real quick overview of how you can use this website I've created. I'll put the link in the description to generate custom items. So let's really quick go over what each of these fields does. This is what item you're going to give the player. Let's switch this to Iron Sword, for example. If you want, you can get rid of the /give part of it entirely using this checkbox, and this will allow you to just paste this into an existing /give command. This is the activator type. What type of item is it? Is it a main hand item, an offhand item, either one, or an armor item? Okay, so we're going to give this sword, make it so that when you hold this sword you get plus 30% speed. To do that, you just add a new effect. Then we're going to click on effects and choose from this big list. In this case, we're going to need plus or minus movement speed. We're going to set the percent increase to 30. So 30% movement speed. And that's it. Oh, we need to put back the /give command. We just copy this, paste it into the game, and there we go. Sword gives plus 30% speed. But the rubber really hits the road when you get to conditions, because these allow you to create effects that only happen under specific circumstances. Like, for example, we can make an axe that does plus 50 damage when underwater. So underwater. So we're going to create a new condition. We're going to create. So yeah, we got to choose what situation the player has to be in. Things like on ground, on fire, sneaking or crouching, all those sorts of things. And then we choose the effects that the player gets if they're under that condition. In this case, we'll pick plus or minus attack damage and set that to 50. There we go. Let's give ourselves our Iron Sword. Let's get some pillagers here. And we do normal damage if we're outside the water, but if we're in the water, we do an insta-kill. You may have noticed this inverted tag right here. This just flips the condition around. This makes it so, this is really useful. This allows you to make it so that the condition is false when it would normally be true. So in this case, the sword is an insta-kill when we're out of water, and regular damage when we're in water. There's all sorts of applications for that. So yeah, that's conditions. Some other things of note, you can have multiple effects in a condition. So you can have plus attack damage and plus max health, or maybe plus attack damage and you also have fire resistance. I don't know why you need fire resistance when underwater, but the point is it's very flexible. You can do whatever you want. If you want to make it so that you need multiple conditions to be true, you can put a condition inside of a condition. So if you're underwater and you're also crouching, then you get an effect. So you can nest them basically however you want. And that's basically how it works. There's one more thing you need to understand though, which is that some of the items in this list have an asterisk next to them. Things like, what's a good example? Actually, there's a good one down here. Gain potion effect for a certain duration. Let's see what happens if we put this on a sword. Yeah, this works. So we kind of get spammed with lots of particle effects here. The reason this is because this effect is not meant to be used with passive conditions. So there's two types of effects and also two types of conditions, passive and instantaneous. Instantaneous conditions are conditions that are active for only one frame. These are more like triggers. They're not things that are true or false about the player, like a player is underwater. They're just things the player does, and that causes the condition to be true for one frame, specifically the frame right after they did it. So, for example, killed mob or player. The player, that's not something that's true or false about the player, that's just something the player does. Instantaneous conditions, which again are marked with asterisks right here, are meant to be paired with instantaneous effects, like player gains a potion effect. Where is that one? Gain potion effect. We're going to get a potion effect, resistance 5 for 5 seconds. So on kill, the player will get a potion effect for 5 seconds. You can combine these instantaneous effects with instantaneous conditions, mind you, to get things like, if the player gets a kill while underwater, they get speed. That sort of thing. So, let's get a kill. And there we go, we just got resistance. So there's nothing actually stopping you from combining instantaneous effects with passive conditions and vice versa. Just use your own judgment for how to combine these. There's so many different conditions and effects that can be used in all sorts of different ways. Here's a couple more that are of note for more advanced users. 33 through 35 are things like activated. Item has been activated. Let's actually show an example of that. So there's something you can do, a condition that causes the item to be activated. Which one was that? Oh, right, the mass grave. So this one has a condition for kill a zombie. Actually, this one's a bit more complicated, but yeah, there's a condition for kill a zombie. Let's actually cover that right here. See, there's these counter variables you can put on an item. Let's actually create this item right here. We're gonna on the fly recreate the mass grave. How it works is this item provides Wither 2 to whenever the player inflicts an attack, but they need to kill 300 zombies before they activate their bonuses. So let's first create a condition here. The condition is going to be upon killing a monster of a specific type, and we're going to pick zombie. Okay. So then, when this triggers, they get the effect of add value to counter 1. So this is going to be the tracker of how many times the player killed a zombie. Then, when they kill a zombie, it also checks to see if that counter has reached 300. So conditions, let's go back down. Counter 1 is greater than or equal to 300. If that is true, then the player gets an effect. The effect is... Sorry, actually... Yeah, the effect is... the item becomes activated. The ritual has been complete. The player has killed 300 zombies. They now get the effect. So, we're going to go back up top, add a new condition to the base level of the item. This condition checks for if the item has been activated using all these conditions we set up here. Item has been activated. Then we need another condition for the player actually dealt damage. Dealt damage with a melee attack. Then the effect for dealing damage to a melee attack is to inflict potion effect on the monsters that just took the damage from that melee attack. And that's going to be Wither 2 for 10 seconds. There we go. That was a lot, but don't be too worried if you didn't get it. Actually, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to set this value to 3, so we only need to kill 3 zombies, just because I don't want to kill 300 zombies on camera right here. Yeah, so let's put that in here. Let's spawn some zombies. Became activated, so now our attacks should inflict Wither. There we go. Our attacks have inflicted Wither upon this zombie. So yes, don't worry if you didn't get all that. This was a rather complicated item. I probably should have picked a simpler one, but ultimately, just play around with this, and most importantly, test your items to make sure they work before you use them in your map. Nothing worse than having a broken item in a map. I shouldn't have to tell people this, but some people don't test their items before they place them in the map. Yeah, so just play around, see what kind of weird, wacky effects you can create with it. Some people have already created some really weird stuff. Here's some examples right here. You can examples of cool stuff you can make with this pack. A sword that when you're at 10 health or less provides you some crazy buffs. By the way, this also makes it so that your attacks inflict a particle effect if you have that plus bonus attack damage. I'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer. An icicle launcher, its arrows inflict slowness. A pickaxe, if you break a monster spawner with it, it has a 25% chance to slip out of your hand. And a leather tunic that makes early game weapons viable again by making wooden weapons have +3 attack damage. There's all sorts of different things in the chest of items that I've created. Here's another one, a staff that you can spend 9 XP levels on, and then it gives it +30 attack damage. So it's like a weapon on the go. So yeah, you can just do instant kills with it. So yeah, just play around with this thing, and yeah, have fun.